While it's fun to blast on the Cleveland Browns, and don't get me wrong, the skid marks of the NFL deserve most of it, for sure. To me, it's easy to see that the single biggest knuckleheads, the single biggest idiots in this particular free agency season have to be the Arizona Cardinals. Like, how is this even a question? How is this even close? Is Steve Keim trying to sabotage his new head coach? Is Steve Keim trying to get himself fired? Because if he is, he sure looks like he's well on his way to doing so. Now, part of this is a reaction to the cutting of Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, the former third-round pick out of LSU in 2013, a guy that came into the league with some troubles, with some baggage, with some issues with drugs, and has become a very good player when healthy. That's part of the hang-up, though, is he's had different assorted injuries that have cost him games. So you've gotten to a point in time where you're looking at 2018 and a cap figure of $14 million, and it's not the most appealing when you're a Cardinals organization. I get that. And I understand in theory why you would want to go to him and ask for a pay cut, because the real truth of the matter is based off of production and performance, he's not worth that cap figure because of the injuries and so forth. I do not begrudge them for that. I do not. I do not begrudge them alone for allowing John Brown to leave in free agency. Because here's a guy that you have some concerns with the sickle cell trait, and it's affected him at times. He's had other injuries, so he could be a nice player when healthy. But the problem is more often than not that he's not. And he's not quite been the same explosive guy that we saw early on in his career. So you could say, how much money do you want to tie into a guy that you don't know how much he's going to play for you or how much he might be able, longer he might be able to play in the league? I get that too. But here's what I don't understand. You cut somebody that's actually been a Pro Bowler, that's actually been very good in Tyrann Mathieu because his cap figure is too big, or the other BS excuse you're going to hear is he's not a great fit for the new defense. Well, let me tell you something. When you get a guy with talent like Honey Badger, if he's not a good fit for your system, then maybe the problem isn't the player. Maybe your system is retarded. Maybe your system is stupid, and maybe your system needs to adapt to fit the talent. That is a dumb, ridiculous thing. You cannot tell me a guy like Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, who could play nickel, dime, slot corner, he could play safety. You can't tell me there's a defense in the league that he can't fit. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And if your new head coach is telling you he doesn't think he's a fit for the system, then maybe you've got the wrong guy as head coach. Because clearly that is just idiotic think. But beyond all of that is the notion of you're trying to clear salary cap space. So you allow John Brown to leave via free agency and you let him go to Baltimore where receivers go to die and they give him $5 million for a year. You cut Honey Badger so that way you will give Sam Bradford $15 fucking million of guaranteed money and the potential to earn $20 million. And then to top it all off, you bring in fucking giraffe neck Glennon and give him 2 years, $8 million, where surely a few million of that in year one is guaranteed. What in the fuck are you doing in the desert? This is just absolutely ridiculous. You cut a guy like Tyrann Mathieu because you need cap space and then immediately eat up all of that cap space and actually plunk more into it by getting every bit as bad, if not worse, at the quarterback position. Like, am I the only one that thinks this is incredibly fucking stupid? Am I taking crazy pills here? You cut Tyrann Mathieu, who's been a Pro Bowl level player, and gave Sam Bradford that money, who barely played in 2017, where there was significant serious talk about his career being over due to multiple knee injuries. So your answer to the immobile quarterback that was Carson Palmer at the end of his career, who had some injuries and it forced him to call it quits, is to sit there and bring in a guy that is equally immobile with all the knee injuries and stuff in Sam Bradford, and then bring in a backup to throw away a few fucking $1 million in Mike Glennon, who's even worse in terms of his mobility. He's not just a giraffe in terms of his neck, he's a giraffe in terms of his goddamn mobility. This is so stupid. Teams create their own salary cap issues by being morons. And don't give me that salary cap excuse when you cut a quality player, injury problems or not, like Tyrann Mathieu. You cut the honey badger to bring in an even more injury-prone fucking quarterback. What the hell is going on with Steve Keim? Like, literally. This is so massively stupid. And if anything, it might potentially give you an indication that the Arizona Cardinals, with their number one clear-cut need going into the 2018 NFL draft being to draft a young quarterback, that they might very well put it off in round 1 because they want to address needs elsewhere. And they'll find somebody in day 3, and he'll completely suck cock, and then 2 years from now, they'll be overpaying another crappy statue pocket passer, and then passing on another first-round quarterback because Steve Keim is fucking stupid. But you might not have to worry about it if you're a Cardinals fan, because this team is clearly on the wrong trajectory, and at this pace, Steve Keim is not going to have his job much longer. Because when you look at counting on Sam Bradford, that has been a significant tragic mistake for several teams in the NFL. First, the St. Louis Rams, who were stupid enough to draft a number 1 overall and being forced to give him over $50 million guaranteed coming out of Oklahoma. Then the Eagles, who traded a lot to get him because Chip Kelly was a fucking moron. Then the Minnesota Vikings, who made a knee-jerk reflex reactionary move after Teddy Bridgewater's injury, and they were idiotic enough to give up a 1st and 4th round pick to get Sam Bradford, who, after finally having a decent season in the NFL in 2016, after 7 years in the damn league, goes out in 2017, and he makes, 3 starts the whole goddamn year? 3 starts? 2 starts? Whatever the hell it was? And you want to give him $15 million guaranteed? Like, if you put up a poll, who with a brain would choose to pay Sam Bradford $15 million guaranteed instead of Honey Badger $14 million? You, instead of paying Tyrann Mathieu and John Brown, decided to give that money to Sam Bradford and Mike Glennon. So you were cap neutral, and you got shittier at other positions to absolutely not upgrade at the most important position on your fucking roster. Of all the dumb deals and moves you are going to see this offseason from a variety of teams, there is no question the winners of the biggest idiots in this year's free agency period have to be the Arizona Cardinals. How freaking stupid. You cut Tyrann Mathieu to freaking sign Sam Bradford. Give me a break.